interview series. And today I am ecstatic because we have the most amazing guest you can ever have. And it's none other than the fantastic, fabulous Deborah Drummond. She is the top performance business coach, an amazing leader, an entrepreneur of roughly over 32 years. And so I'll let Deborah, without further ado, introduce herself. Deborah, welcome to the Breaking Barriers interview series. It's so wonderful to have you here sharing insights with us today. How are you?
I am fantastic. And it is truly, I know people say it all the time, and thank you for having me, but really it is an honor when you think about, being in media and you doing media for you only have a certain amount of available space. And it really is quite an honor to be asked to fill one of those spaces. I always say to people, like, the average podcaster is doing what, a couple of shows a month? It really is an honor. And so I very much appreciate availability to share some words. So thank you, honey. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And it's an honor. And I couldn't think of a better person to share on this particular platform because we are here to really encourage, motivate aspiring female C-suite executive leaders, those women who have big vision and they're just needing the help, they're needing the support to exercise their influential power and really be heard, let their voice be heard, right? And just get their power back. And I can't think of a better person to give them that wisdom than you. So please do share. Tell us a little bit about your background, about how long you've been working in the speaking industry and as a coach and so forth. We'd love to hear.
Love to hear. Well, thank you. And I was just saying the other day that I love all the communities that I'm seeing being built, particularly for high-level visionaries. People say to me, first of all, they say, "Oh, I'll say the word, but we're not allowed to say the word in our team is busy." And usually when people say that, they say it in a bit of a derogatory, "Oh, you're always so busy." And I'm like, well, honey, I'd rather be abundant than bored. So I think, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So first of all, we don't use the word be because it has a derogatory connotation. And most people that are looking for that, they're that C-suite, they're the overseers. They have the ability to see long and wide, and they're the people that are multiplexers. And so when you are coming from that place, I was like, it's one thing to lead, it's one thing to be in circle, it's one thing to be in community, but on the inside, we're like, us cray, we got to hang with each other because when people go, oh my gosh, if I was to go to a fellow colleague and say, man, I would just love some support, they wouldn't really know where and what angle to come in at. And, or we'd start to get advice like, well, maybe you should take more time off. Maybe you should take more off your plate or blah, blah, blah. Like right now you can hear my voice is a little Janis Joplin. And so I caught myself something. Now, some of my friends would be like, oh man, I hope you're feeling better. And other ones would be like, well, maybe because you're working so hard. And I'm like, I'm on purpose. I'm on passion. I'm on movement. And you know what? And don't take the outside like the inside. There's things I do, I just don't necessarily tell you. Those are things that I don't post about, right? I don't post about reading or watching, Phenomenon mooting at 11 o'clock at night. So I know I was supposed to introduce myself, but I wanted to touch base on that. So I so love that you create platform for people that are, visionaries, wanting to be visionaries, because even visionaries need to break their own barriers and we need to have people to talk to, right?
Yes.
My background, I've been playing this entrepreneurial world, like you said, upwards to 32 years. I came from the music industry, which is, probably why I referenced Janis, but I came from the music industry and I went in after I had what I will call a considerable clear download. I went into the holistic health industry. Now, look, that was over 30 years ago, and there wasn't a yoga shop, there wasn't a Starbucks, there wasn't a meditation class to be seen. So a lot of grassrooting. There wasn't even a women's networking group I live in Vancouver, Canada. This is not a small place to be. People love Vancouver and we love for you to come. But there wasn't a women's networking group. And so Sunday at 2:00, I'm like, bring your kids. And we all got together and went, what are we going to do? That was 30 years ago. My daughter's 31. And so I've done a lot of grassroots, a lot of pioneering. I believe in creating platforms I was on my way to get a degree in women's studies and religious studies and create economic platforms in third world countries. And then I had, what I call a magical surprise, and I got pregnant with my daughter, which changed that trajectory. I wasn't going into university at that time, and I happened to go get a muffin from the one muffin shop that made sugar-free and gluten-free muffins 30 years ago because I have allergies. And I saw a pink flyer, and I grabbed it out of the corner of my eye. And that flyer turned into a 27-year career of me speaking, teaching corporations about health and wellness. That flyer created a 27-year private health practice where I had 18 staff, and I personally worked on 30,000 clients. And that pink flyer threw me into entrepreneurship, and I started studying top performance in my second class. And so I studied top performance, which is why people call me a professional hippie, because I am a hippie, love hippie. I think like a hippie, but I think like a engineering hippie. Like someone gives me their business plan or gives me their business, and I can lay a plan and infrastructure and strategic plan and top performance and blah, 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 blah. I'm the piece that nobody likes. I get a lot, oh, Deb makes wealthy healers. Because, healers and visionaries, or honestly, even those of us that are trying to break the next level with a lot of experience, I always say the worst person to give you advice is you. So you need another visionary's eyes on it just to build the new infrastructure. So anyways, that's kind of what I do. I create platforms. And of course, we're playing together in the media company where we have and are in creating the largest international Women's Day speakership and authorship that's ever been done in the world. And I can tell you, I didn't sit down at the boardroom to make that decision. I got a download, and over the course of the last 3 years, here we are. And within months, we'll be gifting that book away at the Celebrity Gifting Lounge at the Emmys for 2024 in September. And those things you just don't see coming. So I know I kind of hopped from one to another, music to the holistic, to falling with entrepreneurship. And then there came the time where I had to take my hands off the table, and I got a message that I needed to help and make an impact that was bigger, which is kind of back to the creating economic platform in third world countries and do something global. It's been a real journey. And people say that, oh, it's a journey, like as if it's a nice walk through the forest. If you've taken this journey, sometimes you're in the ditch, sometimes you're climbing out, sometimes, it's all of it. It's just absolutely all of it. Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of passion, and that's a lot of experience. And I really want to commend you for just saying yes to healing and empowerment of fellow women leaders. Because we need visionaries like you who don't just say, oh, I'm just going to put it on paper and I'm not going to make sure that it actually takes off, right? And it gets manifested. And people benefit from that. You're an engine, and it's just one person. And I can't thank you enough. And I know the whole community, that's really what resilience is. And that's what we're talking about, right? Resilience, you must have that supportive component. Networking is important because that's how we breathe and that's how we live. If we don't have any encouragement from like-minded professionals or professionals who we do admire and they're trailblazers like yourself, then what do we have? How can we really aspire and overcome anything if we don't have that? So you are providing a key ingredient, and I'm very, very, very fortunate to be one of those speakers on your Women Mission, and it just is a gift that keeps on giving. But tell me something in terms of your personal experience. What are the specific challenges you've experienced in terms of cultivating resilience and maybe in emotional intelligence mastery in all of the occupations you just described that you did over the years?
Yeah, well, that's a big question. I could probably have answered it easier in my first 4 or 5, years, but I would have to say, the picture that I get, and I actually wrote it down in my notes yesterday. I was doing some meditation, and I was like, so, what do I need? And what do I want to start incorporating? And I'm like, oh, okay, I need to up my acupuncture. I need to up how many times I go for acupuncture. Like I self-examine, and you have to do this. How big is your quest, and where are you in the quest? Because the thing that the number one fuel to the quest is not the people you hire, is you. It's your vision, it's your idea. And look, there's people, I've got someone that's taking care of TV, publication, Dorothea does all the administration. We have a CMO, we have a CFO, we have those people. I am the fuel to those people. I'm the overriding decision to people in a collaborative, but if anything goes wrong, it falls on me. That's how I play this game. And so, but who fuels me? Me. So I need to always keep myself in check. And I'm not talking about going to the spa once a month. I mean, mentally keep myself in check. Be honest with myself. I thought about that today. I'm like, well, I don't work at a job, because if I did, with how unwell I'm feeling, I'd be taking the day off and I'd be in bed. You know what I mean? But that's not my option. It's not my choice. And I'm not upset about that. I'm not upset about that. That doesn't bother me. This is what I want for my life. I mean, and I could take the day off if I wanted to. I mean, it's not like I can't do that, but I have my choice. But the thing is, when I was writing yesterday, this whole journey that I've been on, and most of the journey we're in life, whether you are executive, whether you're C-suite, whether you're, doing whatever it is that you're doing, your mental game, and we hear mindset. I'm like, your mental game, your mental conversation, the only way I can encapsulate it, one of my favorite movies, and I wrote this down, I'm like, you need to watch more Creed. There's a scene in Creed that made me go to the theaters 5 times and watch it. And there's a scene where it's Creed 1. And, for those of us that are older and, Rocky Balboa. Okay. Yes. And so then, Apollo Creed, and then his son, comes up and blah, 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 and finds Apollo. And he asks him to train him. And he's like, no, dude, like your dad died. Like I'm not doing this. So he finally convinces him to train him. So he comes to the gym and he grabs him and, he's like, doing the bag. And I used to box. So I didn't box anyone, I boxed myself. So I'm really, because I think boxing is a game against yourself. I never boxed against anyone other than my trainer. I wasn't doing that, but it's a game against yourself. And most people have their sport that they do. But Rocky took Creed to the mirror. And he's like, that's your biggest competitor. That's who you're fighting against. And I was like, that's, it's beyond a mic drop for me. I have to always remember. That's why I say that you have to be careful who's guiding who. Now, if you're getting messages and downloads and clarity and all that kind of stuff from source, I still take that clarity from source and I kind of run it through the dishwasher. I'm like, I got to play that out. I got to see that. I got to go to my trusted people, because we're all like, I have trusted people in my life. You have trusted people in your life. I want to go to someone who's in that area, go to experts. I always say, don't go to your bank manager to talk about your marriage. Like, really, who are you talking to and what are you talking to them about? I got the best advice about relationships from my girlfriends. Sometimes when I look back, I was like, well, that wasn't so smart because they were in crappy relationships. What was the best advice they were going to give me? They love me and I love them. But, that's not how it works. So yeah. I think the best advice I could say, or the thing that I do for that whole thing, is remember that mirror. Remember the mirror. It's like it really truly is, because you are the fuel, and sometimes it's tiring being the fuel. You got to hang out with other people that are doing the fuel, right? Mm-hmm. Like it or not, like it or not, you are the inspiration and the motivation. So I went on a bit of a soapbox there. Sorry about that, but
no, but that's
I'm a little passionate.
I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. And I just have to say this. I mean, what resonated with me when you were speaking is all about the empowering of authentic leadership. Your authenticity is really what drew me to you when we connected. And really, people do love that. It's a key ingredient of resilient leadership power, right? And in order to have that, you need to have, first of all, your purpose, the fuel. You talk about you being the fuel for your business, right? Because you had that purpose, and that's how you were able to push forward and have the perseverance